All right, being broken up with, whether it's a long-term relationship or just a few dates, it can be confusing, obviously heartbreaking, but what about the person initiating the breakup?
Ooh, good question, Mel. Deciding to end a relationship can be a difficult decision and even harder to see through. So, here with her advice on how to properly break up with someone, I'm joined by breakup coach and dating strategist, Natalia Juarez. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I just learned that there's a breakup coach that exists in the world. That is the best job in the world, I guess. Okay, Natalia, you said your first tip for how to have a better breakup is to make sure you're sure. What does that mean?
Okay. So the number one concern that people have when they're considering initiating a breakup is whether or not they're making a mistake. So you're going to want to try and be sure as best you can. That said, it's not always possible to be 100% sure. But at least if you have your concrete reasons, then later on when doubts kind of creep in, or if you have, some regrets, you can go back to these reasons.
Hey.
Interesting. So how can someone make sure that the other person isn't completely blindsided? Because we hear about this all the time.
Okay. One of the best ways is to begin to introduce the conversation. Let this person know that you're having concerns, doubts, all of that leading up to the breakup so that, that person doesn't feel completely like it came out of left field.
But how early in advance are we talking about? Like a month? Like if I'm starting to think about this, from now.
It's a little bit of a necessary evil that you're going to start processing the breakup before it even happens.
Yes.
But as soon as you're kind of leaning that way, just find ways to begin letting the person. Don't act like everything's okay when it's not.
Okay, so, but you're not telling them, you're not having this communication because you're trying to look to save the relationship. You're saying you need to be dropping these crumbs so that they aren't blindsided because you've already made your decision, correct?
Yes. Yeah, because I talked to so many people who just did not see it coming at all. And those make for some of the hardest breakups.
Yeah.
Because if you initiate the conversations and if there's anything that can be adjusted, corrected, then that person has an opportunity.
Okay, all right, let's talk about closure. So at what stage is closure required? Is this after the breakup has happened? Like, where is that in the process?
I think closure is completely overrated. You're very often...
Oh,
You're very often not... Yeah, you're not going to get the answers maybe that you want, that you're looking for. Even if someone tells you why they're breaking up, it might never be enough. So I think you need to stop looking externally for that closure and give it to yourself. And sometimes that closure might come months later when things just begin falling into place.
Okay.
I feel like closure is important, but I guess maybe it isn't. But you also say it's important to think about when and how you do the breaking up. So does this advice change depending on the relationship?
Of course.
And the generation, millennials?
Well, I know we different out here.
Yeah, it's like if you've had a few dates with someone, that's so different than if you're living with someone. But generally speaking, if you have a serious relationship with someone, I often recommend something like a Friday early evening. And I know it sounds very specific. Yes.
Before the weekend?
Because then they have the weekend to process it.
Smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
That does make a lot of
actually
sense.
very
Early enough in the evening that they can still call a friend afterwards and then take the weekend to just deal with the shock of it all. And then if they need to, extend it into Monday and take a long weekend.
Ooh, okay, I like that tip.
Yes.
And you're not breaking up with them at 11 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awful. That's awful and cold-hearted. Okay, so here's the question. We're getting closer to holiday season. Someone's in a relationship, they're watching us right now, and they're like, I know I don't want to be with my partner, and I need to break up with them. Even though it's cuffing season, everybody usually wants to hook up at this time of year. It's getting colder, you need a hot body.
Well, you know what they say, there's nothing better than the touch of a man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a married woman, so moving on, Brandon. I love that, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, the quintessential question. Do you wait to break up with them until after the holidays, or do you do it before?
So starting the American Thanksgiving into the second week in December, there's a huge spike in breakups.
There is?
Real?
Yes. I think it's like December 12th. That's like the biggest day for breakups. But the reason being is that Christmas is coming and things start coming into focus. Do you actually want to bring this person home for the holidays? Do you want to spend time with their family, knowing
Do you want to
that
spend money on a present?
that as well?
And it's also like the new year, right? Because we put this list of what we want to bring into the new year. We want to feel fresh.
Now,
you want to bring in,
The baggage?
The baggage. Because it can be
That's
heavy.
I really want to say that it's okay to break up. Breaking up with someone can be the most loving thing that you can do for them. So I think it's important that we rethink breakups.
Phone, in person, text. Help us just with that really quickly. which do you advise not, and which do you advise is okay?
It depends on the relationship, but in person is always best.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh boy, that's the one. Everybody, you got to pull up your pants and no cowards allowed.
Okay.
No cowards allowed.
Learned a lot here.
Natalia, fascinating discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.